where did we leave the party?
Split in three.
Yes, split in three.
See, Eldon and Siona were basically doing some metal detecting for the key. Raz and Thongrim were debating whether they should do a hostile takeover of one of the blacksmiths in town. And Corin was getting a feel for the Thieves Guild, which turned out great.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, it kind of did. At the end of that, they were able to at least identify him as a fairly competent thief and a potential contact for the guild, if we understand their intentions correctly. We don't know, however, if anybody ended up following the trail of sugar down into the sewers, but maybe we can follow up on that at some point in our campaign. So yeah, all of these things were kind of happening in tandem. So Siona, Dazzle, and Eldon were on their way from their less than eventful a trip around Mulmaster. They did get lost somewhere south of the city, and we had Thongrim and Raz. I believe that they did eventually make contact with the smithing guild, and they may have found out some information, but probably not as much as we would have liked. So, do we want to pick up from there?
Go to places any.
Okay, and so we have some other things in the city that we could touch upon as well. But what the Thongrim and Razael would have found out, and we still need to figure out what the dues, though, how much the guild fees were. So we need to figure that out. But they would have identified that there were 7 blacksmith shops that they are aware of. The grand majority of them helmed by evilly aligned people, a couple by neutral folks, and there was one lone small shop that was run by a good aligned character. Several names that have been brought to their attention, but they had not yet been introduced, or I guess introduced to any of the owners of them. So that's about as far as we had made it. So Thongrim or Raz? What?
Sorry, we're talking, trying to figure out what we're doing.
Okay, all right, y'all talk amongst yourselves while I reminisce with Gabe and Corin, and Will. I'll get y'all's in-character names versus out-of-game foot names straight eventually.
I still use in-character names more than anything else.
So there were other leads in the city that we can check out. Again, there's the party coming up at Astrid Saja's estate. That's going to be a 10-day celebration coming up in the next couple of days here within Mulmaster. And again, to reprise everybody's memory, that's going to be her opening pitch to become a member of the nobility, a member of the Blades in this society. Because apparently one of the elder members is on death's door, and the only way to get in with the nobles is to be voted in by the other existing nobles when a spot comes around.
All right, hold on, I'm pulling up your email. I have a question for you.
Shoot. Yeah, just when you get a chance.
The neutral goods shop, I guess, I'm going to say that we've gone to all these shops now in our off time and introduced ourselves and, felt enough to see if anybody was interested in selling. Would any of these be interested in openly selling?
And you're talking about the Hammer Home or the Squeal of Steel?
I think I was looking at maybe the He Who Smelt It.
Okay, that was the...
Or any of them.
Okay.
Really, I mean, any of them. Just having talked to all these owners, are any of them, basically jumping at the opportunity to get out?
The one that would be closest to it would be He Who Smelt It. That would be the smaller shop, mainly because he's a good aligned character. And looking at the Society of Mulmaster, it's largely evil. So while the good aligned characters can do live here, most of them are not necessarily comfortable with their existence in this kind of vile city for long periods of time. So that one would probably be most likely to sell to you, but the others might. Again, with Thongrim being good aligned, you may have some more complications with the larger shops, but Razael may be able to work with you on that one.
So they would probably be willing. I guess we don't have any idea what a price on that would be, or I guess maybe even the hammer home. I mean, they wouldn't have any real qualms about either way. I mean, they're pretty much true neutrals, sort of. Hey, whatever happens, whatever. I don't get too involved into it.
Yeah, the true neutral probably would be willing as well. I mean, for the right price. And
are any of is the hammer home or the smith are either of those particularly aligned with the blades or with the church? I mean, is there granted, these are all probably in some way aligned with them or facilitating them in some degree, but is there any of them that are like, hey, bring your church flyer on Sunday and get 10% off? Or
I would say the ones that are run by evil folks are probably more aligned with the church. The true neutral one, the hammer home, does pretty much whatever gives them money. I mean, they're just still looking out for themselves. They don't really get bothered with the affairs of others. So looking at that. Hang on. I mean, you were asking about the price. You would say probably the median price for a medium shop is about 2,000 gold. For a small shop, it's about 800 gold, and for one of the larger ones, it would be, again, this is median, would be about 4,000 gold for a straight up sale. And then getting into that, we would have the check to see from a, I don't know if it's persuasion or one of those types of checks to see if maybe you got a better price or maybe a worse price or whatever. But I would say one of the true neutral, the good one, maybe even the chaotic neutral might help you.
So let's think this through, Ash. Let's say 2 birds and 1 stone. We buy out and set up shop in one of these small shops, even medium shops that are like neutral good aligned or whatever good aligned. We get a base of operations, and if we can work our way up to the noble somehow, we can be like, hey, yeah, we totally busted these asshats out of town. Now you're dealing with good old honest Aldenburg folk, and that could be our end.
Could be. I mean, I imagine that they're going to have.
It's fine.
I imagine that some conflicts are going to rise as soon as you own this. People coming in and saying, you're going to have somebody trying to, strong arm you and collect a protection racket, and then you're going to have, the blades coming in expecting, their arms to flow the way it has been. So, I mean, I imagine there's going to be consequences to any of this, but, my thinking is sort of, is it the best way to kind of get that base operations? But the price, I mean, even buying it out, if anybody's willing to sell, it's not terribly prohibitive if any of those. Now, I don't know if the neutral location, if we, being sort of his alignment, if we'd be more favorable to maybe a small, retaining a small stake in it, to maybe make him more willing to sell, say, hey, we'll leave you some money, or leave you 10-20%. You can just kind of keep getting fat off this and retire. We'll send you a chunk every month or whatever. But you wouldn't want him snooping around in case we decide to start, running guns through it.
Yeah, I think if we did that, full ownership would be better. I mean, if we're throwing down 800 grand, that we may arguably not even get half back. Because if we have to skip town, like, we're not going to have time for a short sale, or maybe we would. But I think that would be our only option. Be like, hey, whoever's buying, shop 400 gold. We got to get the hell.
And you said, Adam, last week that a medium is basically like downtown, or downstairs shop, upstairs living quarters, or is that more of a large?
I would say at least a large would definitely have some sort of, upstairs loft living area. I would say a medium would probably have a smaller area that you could use.
But enough that we could all stay there, or does that have to be a large to do that?
There's no real ruling one way or the other. I'd say a medium would probably be sufficient. You could probably do it as a small, but it would be cramped. I mean, a small shop, not like a stall at an open air market, but if you were going to say like one of these strip mall locations, like Zone 1 over down the street, I mean, I would imagine that's kind of like a small shop. So, I mean, technically, y'all could live there. It would just be a little cramped, but doable. I mean, you're not going to be, living the high life.
Let's see if we do it right. Let's find us the evilest of the large shops, and let's see if we can persuade them to sell. I mean, I guess we'll have gone. I mean, I guess we would have gone as we went around to introduce ourselves as part of the guild. I mean, we would have said, "Hey, we're interested in buying this." Pitched all the options, whether flat ownership or partial ownership, or basically Shark Tanked all this stuff. Each one of these, would we have gotten any bites on those?
Maybe.
I can roll persuasion versus a number on each of these if you want.
Yeah.
My only question is, let's say we get even a small one to be concerned about selling. We don't have that much money.
I thought we had like 4,000 gold.
That's probably not a lot of money.
I thought he said it was 800 to buy a small and 2,000 to buy a medium.
I must have been out.
Oh yeah. I think it was. Yeah, the prices were lower than I expected too.
Well, I mean, I'm looking, and this is not including the maintenance that you'd have to do per week, and I'm basically, I have scoured something and found running a business homebrew thing that is a one-sheeter here, and so the cost of these, the way that they have it laid out. Now, granted, this would be building it up fresh. So I completely ignored the time and days to spin this up. But the cost that it looks like is small was about 800, medium 2,000, and large would be 4,000, and then it goes up from there.
Wow, that's cheap.
Yeah, well,
let's just buy all the smithies.
Well, that gets a little more. If you're going to say, would you consider that a local stage monopoly? I'd say probably. So you're looking at 50,000 to kind of get a monopoly of everything. And I'm assuming that's buying off people, contracts, guilds, trying to get people to look the other way.
So let's see. We have 7
Yes. Now, granted, I'm just reading off the sheet. I didn't actually calculate anything.
No, you're fine. We will wing a bit of this here.
What's our goal here for, like, we're just trying to get a foothold in the area, right?
Yeah, I mean, part of this was based off that goal that he said from there, just of expanding, you know, the Bloodbath and beyond. So some of that is just I kind of started this as, hey, we can get kind of a base of operations to kind of have a legal front to our potentially rebellious activity, and it gives you it gives you a reason to be having weapons and moving stuff in and out and stuff like that. It gives you it gives you a leg up into diplomacy and things of that nature, but also, you know, just hey, if I'm going to be a shop owner, I might as well keep trying to be a shop owner. And the guild membership is 5 gold per month, so I don't know what.
Okay, 5 gold per month, so that'd be 60 gold. My original guess was about 50, and then I dropped it down to 30. So, but 5 gold a month.
Yeah, so I don't know what it is, and I don't know if that's paid through my old shop or not. I mean, I can just say I settle up every time I come into a thing. Having that access says you can gain access to political figures through the guild as long as you're in good standing, and the guild is compensated. So.
And that goes in line with the stuff that we know about Mulmaster in terms of, I mean, they highly value trade and merchants. So long as they don't necessarily rock the boat, they're not going to, I mean, they're going to look at you as aiding the economy, because that's, you know, one of their main exports, again, is arms and armory. So Bloodbath and Beyond would fit in well. Just one of the, you know, not that we're hugely looking at alignment. The fact is that, you know, I would consider it a good organization in Mulmaster being an evil one. There may be some tension there.
So,
all right, so we're just going down the list, huh?
So
I figured it would be the best way. I mean, again, this is all kind of off book. We're just kind of going, saying, hey, how you do? I'm new in town, so-and-so. You know, I like your area. Would you be interested in selling? You know, we're looking to set up shop. You have a great opportunity, blah, 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 blah.
Right. No, that makes sense. So I'm trying to think what the counter skill check would be. I'm thinking insight, or maybe also persuasion. What do you think?
I'm going to say that it's not really a diplomacy. I mean, persuasion's sort of the same way, I guess.
All right.
I mean, it's whatever skill you want to roll it against. You just roll it against a flat DC if you want. You don't have to roll DC. We could just say it's 18, and that eliminates all but 3 of them, right?
No,
or DC 20 eliminates all but 2. I don't need a ton of options.
No. But I do like that idea. But a DC, let's say a flat DC would be, I'd say flat would be 15. Because it, to be willing to sell, but add 5 against the evil ones, and -5 against the good ones. So let's go down the list there.
It looks like Parent Rock and Smith Myth are going to be the most likely to be persuaded.
All right, so you've got, the first one would be a 20. That's out. Parent Rock is in. He Who Smelt It is easily in. Dame of Flame is out. Squeal of Steel is in. Hammer Home is out. And Smith Myth is definitely in.
So the first one, Parent Rock and Smith Myth are probably the most likely to be like, the other ones might be like, hey, I'll think about it, or so-and-so, but like...
Well, He Who Smelted would as well, because he's a neutral good, he's a small shop, And that would
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
So those three, we'll just say those three. I'll throw the others out. So you've got one that's at least considering it, one, and then two that are, you could probably make them an offer and they'd haggle, but would probably be willing to take it with basically the Smith myth. He's kind of salivating at the idea of it, and then when we leave him, always leave them wanting more or whatever, right? So when we leave, he's like, "Oh, be sure you come back and let me know." It's like, being that that's a crit on that one, I imagine he's probably most likely to want to sell. So I'll take all that information, come back to the group at night, and we can discuss that as a collective tonight. I don't want to derail this anymore. Granted that I think everybody else is done, we'll probably turn around and have another conversation, but that gives us the opportunity to question Lupin the Thieves Guild or some of that based on what Corin reports back to the group, or if he has another run-in with the Thieves Guild before he makes it back to the inn at night. That sounds similar to what you were thinking, Chris?
Yeah, I think that's a good start. I was actually thinking of stretch goal, because it's like that gets us our end, but what's our main goal is to find the key or do something with the key, right? So we're gonna need Ellen and Siona to help us out, because we need a destination. But I've got a stretch goal just given the information to the city, and the stretch goal is we either get buddy with. Hold on, check my notes. The lady, the
Astrid Sage?
That's her, Astrid. We get good with her, and we escort her to the party and somehow learn some information there, or we get enough influence by becoming, merchants or providers to the Blades that we get a good enough standing to where we take over her spot, and maybe we get the bid for the spot.
Ooh, subversive.
But we only got 10 days, or we only got a few days to do it, right?
Well, first off, it is her party that she's throwing in her estate.
Oh, it's not the high. Oh, okay.
No,
this changes things.
Yeah, she's the one who's trying to buy into the society. To curry good favor with people.
Okay, I see that now. Okay, disregard them.
But it's not a bad idea to get involved with her.
Well, and I think either I don't know exactly what the Thieves Guild, they're going to want some sort of a tit for tat, I imagine, for their cooperation. And it's one of those, once you've uncorked that bottle, you're pretty much forever in with the mob kind of thing.
In town.
Yeah, in this town, yeah. But it could be hard to do a deal with them now and then tell them hey, I've repaid you, I don't want anything else to do with you. So once you've kind of gotten them in to steal a whole bunch of things, they're probably going to want, like I said, to fence stuff down, to melt things down and give them, payment for stuff and, do that kind of thing.
Hey, but I need to step off for just a second. I'll be right back.
And so, yeah, that's fine. So I could see them, trying to get us to do something with that party as well. I don't know how it'll all play out, but I could see them needing something from that collective of nobles and higher ups, that we may have to fetch. But also as a new shop owner, you're suddenly a potential player in town too, and that may get you an invite to the party just as being a mover and shaker in town.
I don't think, unless you buy the biggest blacksmith around, I don't think the nobles are really going to care. And even then, they're not going to slum it with some mere thieves down there, or smiths. They're too good.
Well, but I guess the mercantile guild. I don't know how that. I don't know how with the guild membership we have. I could see us being able to get in with just that. So I don't know. But I guess that's going to go back to you, Corin. So you would have, and I guess we'll wait till Adam gets back. I guess you've had your slight run-in with the thieves. I guess it'll be interesting to see before you get back to the inn if you have any other
Remember, my whole plan was to not make contact until, we grouped back up and seen about the scrying and things like that.
Yeah, unless your attempted whatever you were trying to do in that alleyway drew attention, because you did leave a calling card, so
I did, but the calling card was more of a, hey, I think I went this way so I can sneak out unannounced. If they follow me, my calling card sucked. But yeah, I mean, they could always do that before you guys get back. I mean, actually, I'm a thief. I still think the best plan is going to be to enlist a Thieves Guild to make some sort of heist. If we have to, we just we repay them like, hey, here's your own smithy to fence stuff out of, because we ain't hanging around this town.
No, that's true. But I will say, as a guild member and a shop owner, and sort of my core character thing is, I'm actually probably going to. My character would probably actually have interest in setting up a permanent, expansion into this area of Bloodbath and beyond, and not simply, he would probably be willing to do it to advance the cause, but it's not going to be one of those like, let's pretend we open a shop and then not do anything. Like, he's going to hire people and inspect the quality and want the shop to be the best shop it can be given the limitations of. Also,
true, but he also has a poor wisdom skill, so a couple of good diplomacy checks, and you just trick him out of the shop.
That could be.
I can't imagine his insight's all that great.
No, my insight's a 2, as it's a trained skill, but my persuasion is pretty high.
Yeah, but usually, in most cases, it's something versus insight, I'd say.
Yeah, my wisdom score is a -1. I just happen to have insight as.
See, I didn't think you'd have a proficiency in it, but okay, that makes it a little bit harder.
I think I picked it as one of those simply to kind of, especially given. As a shop owner, it's one of those like you're trying to, not necessarily the Pawn Stars, but you're trying to make sure the quality of your stuff is makes sense. So that's sort of the insight, I guess.
I wonder if you're like the only person
people are buying and stuff.
It's like, are you the only person in the party that actually has insight proficiency?
I've got it, but it's +4. It's not super.
Yeah, neither I. Oh no, Siona's got it at a +4 too. All I can think of, that's one of the skills I might have should have picked that up, but
Honestly, I still think the whole Thieves Guild route, like, we could do that. Like, it's a little convoluted. It could work. I honestly just see it like save us some money by having them, like what we originally said, ransack the place. We buy it at a significantly reduced cost, buy the stock back from the Thieves Guild at a significantly reduced cost, and that's it. Like, if they ask for a little bit more, yeah, we'll work with them. But hopefully, by the time it comes to that, we'll be going, or we will have gotten what we needed.
I mean, the only problem with that one is you are just basing it on they're going to reduce the cost and sell it.
Well, even if they take it, I mean, I imagine they're going to make a profit on it, right?
No, I mean, like, what if they go to the Thieves Guild and secure a loan or something shady like that?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I guess that then becomes the persuasion checks and things that once you show up to their disheveled ransacked shop, I guess that's where we'll just have to see how that plays out.
Because you also have to worry about one of their competitors buying it up on the cheap, and they're going to have more money than us. There's unknowns in both, and I think our first goal needs to be, because this depends on which one's better. Are we here for what's his name, or are we here for the key? Because it'd probably be much easier to convince the Thieves Guild to break in and steal something than it's going to be to break in and kidnap somebody. So if we're trying to rescue the guy, it might be better to go your way. If we just want to break into some place, steal the key, and while we're there, steal a bunch of crap for the Thieves Guild as a distraction.
We still don't even know if that guy's alive.
I know, but we also don't know where the key's at.
Well, I guess that brings us back to the inn, I guess, right? So we would have relayed this information to the group, said, hey, we have 2 or 3 shops. We went around, made the rounds. Most of them aren't really interested in selling, or don't really fit what we're looking to do. We've pretty much got 2 or 3 we could buy at if we wanted to, a large and a medium, and then the conversation comes around, I guess, to, whether it's worth buying them or if we could find a way to do it. And at that point, we would have said, hey, some of these guys are, definitely not up on the up and up. Especially one of the guys we really met with that would be eager to sell. He was also definitely facilitating the church and facilitating the blades. And if we're trying to destabilize the bad guys in any way, this is definitely one of the people we could lean on, or eliminating one of these guys would definitely go a long way to, kind of destabilize that effort. But like I said, there'll be pieces that'll come up as a result of that. And so then the conversation will just kind of go through that. And then, so I guess that's up to the group now. Eldon, we'll have to, what did you find, Eldon, as you were out?
Have we actually officially gotten back together again to talk about this?
Oh, I don't know. I guess that's up to Adam.
Because we left off, I had just escaped, and they were coming back from the scrying pointing towards town.
Well, getting lost in the woods and getting less done than we wanted to, but...
You shouldn't bring someone who's really good at maps and survival with you if you want to not get lost.
Yeah, you would have thought.
Unless you have anything, Chris, I think you and I would probably head back to the inn after meeting with everybody, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. So we're going to head back unless Adam has something that comes up. That's where we'll be. I don't know about the rest of y'all.
That's where I'd be going back anyways.
Yeah, and same with Eldon and Siona, I would say, too.
Okay, so I'd say that... Yeah, if everybody's converging back on the end, that's fine by me.
Oh, the map has been updated.
Well, while y'all were talking, I figured I'd just go ahead and identify locations of where these places would be.
Yes, very nice.
It's bad as your little squiggly lines are way easier to read than those numbers that are annotating it.
I know, right? Okay, so I missed some of that, but so what's the game plan, y'all? Or at least if y'all are all back at the inn, which is number 4 there, right here. So I'm assuming y'all have already talked this all out. Yes.
Well, we had discussed things, but we weren't sure if we'd actually met back up yet.
Yeah, all the discussions have been in our individual groups.
Yeah, we weren't sure if anything was going to happen to any of us before we made it back. So, but we are all headed back there.
Okay, that is actually a good point. Let's see what happens. All of you roll me a D12. Actually, one for each group, so just 3. 3 rolls.
Got mine.
All right, so y'all have all successfully made it back to the inn. So this would be the end of your 4th night here. I believe that's how we calculated it. At 12 gold a night, so y'all are all up or at 48 gold each for your stay so far at the Traveler's Cloak.
Maybe buying out the shop is the cheaper option.
Well, yeah, getting a base. Actually, when he was talking about the size of the shops, I was also thinking, what would it cost to buy a house in this area?
Apparently 2 weeks at an inn.
I can tell you, according to this little thing, a large farm would be 400, or just a market stand or a small farm would be 160.
So we've essentially spent more than that just as a group staying.
Well, 48 times 5, so that's 240.
Wait, hold on a second. I've got a problem. I thought that was gold, not copper. How much gold did we each get last run?
Like 4,000 something.
Yeah, we're
I put it in the wrong field. I put it in the copper field because why would copper be on top and
okay.
Yeah, that is weird.
Yeah, you only that was your cut. Sorry, we just took more.
We got the same number of coins, and you get the special one who got copper.
Copper's better than gold.
That's why it's on top.
No idea how much money I have then.
Both me and Siona have 4170-ish.
Yeah, you should have around there.
We're between 41 and 4,200, I think.
Okay. What was our cut again? Sorry.
4,000 copper.
4,003.
Thank you.
Coin of your choosing.
In the Ecleros bag of holding on the equipment tab at the bottom, I added a sack for each person with your coinage if you want to keep your coinage, so that because coins would be heavy to just carry. So that was the sacks we talked about. They're in there, and if you want to put your gold amount in that field, you can do that there too.
Okay, thank you. I need freaking source control for my money.
That was kind of what I was saying. It was harder to keep track of it in all the different places than to just keep it in the equipment bag.
There, go find that link again. Let's see. There it is.
If you just go to
I found it. I had to scroll up some.
Yeah, but if you just go to your Google Drive, it'll show up in files shared with you, so you can always get to it that way.
Opened up and it yelled at me saying there was an error loading.
Just saw someone show up and put in Razael.
I should be there.
I'm having trouble. Every time I do anything, it says the cells are currently being loaded. Please retry when load. It's yelling at me. There it goes.
Yeah, it looks like almost everybody's in there now.
The only caveat on all this is that when the party is split like it has been today,
I'm assuming Thongrim is the one that's been carrying the overall sack.
Sure.
Usually, but I think something like this, we may be even leaving it in the inn or whatever.
Assuming the inn is prepared. Safe and whatnot.
Yeah, whatever whatever is determined safest.
Probably not leaving it in the inn.
Well, seeing it is...
They have a strong box and stuff, right? I would assume anything I'm paying 48 gold a night for ought to be
not
pretty
48,
safe and secure.
not a night, but 12 gold a night. You would assume that this being the favorite inn of travelers and everything, it would be fairly secure. I mean, now granted, if the Thieves Guild wanted to get in, they'd probably get in. But we'll see. I mean, I'm not sure there's any Gringotts level thing or vault here in the city. Oh, there might be, but not that y'all are aware of.
Well, if we leave it behind, Delton will just cast alarm on it before we go anywhere.
Magic mouth.
Yeah. Oh, I don't have that yet. But yeah, we got to be careful about casting spells in town too. So.
At least where people can see you.
Yeah.
All right, so we all made it back. So I guess we would have imparted our little tidbit, and then I guess I'll let y'all go on what you've imparted.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my question is, if the Thieves Guild does make contact with us, what do we tell them? What are we going to open up with?
I guess that we need to just we know that the key is somewhere in the city, and so we do need to do some reconnaissance to determine where exactly. It's we've tried by triangulation we know that it's somewhere in the city.
Okay, the two keys we have, do they look similar?
One of them had the key of power was an orangish hue. The key of wisdom had a bluish tinge to it. As far as shapes, I don't think I ever made a decision on that. So, we can say sure they look similar but different.
I mean, if we're going to try to describe what we're looking for,
I'll see if I can find something real quick.
Well, yeah, not only do we have to, we could be asking around for it, but at the same time, we got to be careful not to raise too many eyebrows as to what we're looking for. Similar to a couple of people just running around town talking about buying a blacksmith.
And then buying a blacksmith that was recently robbed.
Yeah, we have to be careful not to have them get knocked over.
Yeah, I mean that could be somewhat suspicious.
Yeah, we don't want to be raising suspicion about why we're here or whatever. We've already sold a lot of goods, so people are going to know us or know of us around town, and know that we came into some monies.
This leads to another question. If we go down the route of buying the blacksmithy, and then we do some things and leave town, does Thongrim want Bloodbath and Beyond kind of like, hey, the new owners robbed a bunch of stuff and skipped town?
Well, we cross that bridge if we go. Like I said, my intentions will probably be to, maintain the shop's identity, and our identity would be different. But we'll cross that bridge.
Right. I think if we buy one of the smaller smithies and maybe even a house, so that we aren't paying for the gold, paying for the inn, we would get a base of operations so that we could be sniffing around. But yeah, dependent on how long we expect that to be. If we expect it to take us, a month of research and a month of finding, are we? I mean, did we have anything that, Adam? Did we have anything that might have implied any kind of rush other than, the previous one of the last key holder kind of expiring and needed to get us to where we were going before he expired?
Well, in terms of trying to get the keys or trying to do what? I mean, the last.
Well, right. Yeah. Do we have any like track on like, you know, obviously they're hurt certain that if we have two of the three keys, then we're in the, you know, we've kind of got the power, but have we gotten any idea that, you know, there's other things on the line that may be occurring in the next day or so, or the next week or so, or in the next month or so, you know, the things that like, I mean, I know we have Quinn, you know, had been carried off by some wizard woman. We don't know the status of that, but we haven't gotten any time indicators on any of those saying, hey, here's a ransom note. We're going to kill him tomorrow.
No, you haven't gotten any indication like that. I mean, the last thing you saw, so at Castle Frederick, Gildol had taken off in a portal. All you'd heard was her going towards the capital, which you would assume would be Mulmaster at this point. Or at least you could assume that. I mean, but they never said those words. But she took off with Doug and Quinn. Quinn having the scroll, or having the scroll case.
Without knowing what it is, right?
Yeah, without really knowing what it is. At least he didn't know what it was. But, I mean, suspicions are that the church has a pretty strong idea of what's in there. So the urgency behind it is, you know, based on what Billy has told you, and kind of based on what Gareth has mentioned about the intent of what the church is trying to do, kind of as their what's the word, attack or whatever their plan against Thay, and bringing back Bane to bring back vengeance, which, you know, that's what their goal is. The Red Flames would have thought that's, you know, bringing Bane back to the world is a terrible idea, because they don't like the idea of, you know, that type of chaos and destruction happening. But the urgency comes in as you don't know what the church is going to be able to do with that scroll case. The fact is, everybody's pretty confident that, from what you've heard so far, that they can't open the case without the three keys, and you guys have two of them. So yeah. So I'm in agreement that, you know, kind of establishing a base of operations, getting to know the lay of the land and things like that make people feel like we're kind of part of the town and expect to be here. But something that if we have to burn that bridge, we aren't going to feel bad about burning that bridge.
Well, how about this? Have you guys actually talked to people about the shops, buying a shop yet?
That's what Thongrim had just gone around.
Yeah, we would have introduced ourselves,
okay,
and then made a soft offer.
Yeah, that bell has been rung.
But it
I know. So
guise of the guild. I mean, we wouldn't have been doing any unofficial capacity. It would have been, you know, hey, you know, as a card carrier, here's my guild membership. You know, we're just in good standing. We want to introduce yourselves. I'm from Aldenburg. You know, you may have heard of us. Blah blah blah.
So, is there a guild rep, like guild office, where you could also make that known that you're looking to buy?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we would have probably made our intentions known when we were settling up our tab, and that's probably where we would have found the location of all the shops. So they probably would have told us, hey.
So what if instead of having the place ransacked, we find one whose owner we don't particularly like, sneak in, cast a bunch of magic, and sneak out, letting them take the blame for people showing up and casting spells?
But it would have to be seen.
Didn't you have to make a case, you know, a roll outside of town when there was no one around? But we could do something, you know, you could make it kind of dramatic, have some lights flash or something.
Hang on.
Well, wait, I guess I'm a little confused on that too. Thongrim, you've come back and you have 3 places that are saying that they're willing to sell.
Yes.
And we have that kind of gold.
Yes.
So
we could just buy one, and then the conversation basically became, well, why waste the money when we can make somebody else do it for us? So I guess that's this conversation. If we say, look, I'll buy it, or do any of you want to become partners in Bloodbath and Beyond? I guess this is me making a pitch, Fellow party members, do any of you want this exciting opportunity to get in at the ground floor of an expansion into Bloodbath and Beyond's Mulberg branch, Mulmaster division? I will offer you a tidy sum of 10% of all voting's for a 15% fee. I don't know.
For the minor cost of supplying weapons to the Church of Bane.
Yeah, and then again, once you guys, once we're in it, we can figure it out. But it's basically, I will give you 10% of all the profits, and in turn, I need 20% of all the cost of purchasing it.
Okay, and what are the purchase prices we have available?
I think we're looking at either a 2,000 or a 4,000. Wasn't the large 4?
Yes, and if you decided to buy all three, you're looking around 6,800. If we just take a straight purchase like that.
I mean, okay, given the rate season cost, I'm fine buying, chipping in for a medium one, just because after a week of being here, it'll pay for itself.
Right. Yeah, I'm in that boat. So, yeah. So
if we can do it all on the up and up,
and the medium is one that has enough space for us to. That's the one with a living space above, and
it has a smaller one, yeah. And then the large, we basically have two large shops interested in selling to us. And one medium shop that was basically, we could probably get at a premium because the dude was basically ready to get.
The shops are going to have storage. They're going to have, the shop itself is going to have, places to keep stuff and things like that. So the living quarters are reasonable for there are 5 of us.
I mean, yeah, if you want living space, 4.5. You're small.
Hey, now.
So there's 1 of me and 4 of you. So I will ask to cover 500 apiece from all of you, and I will cover the 2,000, and then we can buy a large.
Mm-hmm. If you want to spend the money, that's okay.
And then you will be minor owners with. The sum of your shares will come to 49%. Shares cannot be sold without all shares when sold must be sold back to me, so on and so on. Can't be distributed to anyone else.
All right. Well, I've taken 500 gold out of both mine and Siona's sack, and so I guess it's yours.
So, well, yeah, we'll have to RP that then. The next day. So we're agreeing that we're going to buy a place. We've agreed on which one are we buying?
I think it was Parent Rock. Was it Parent Rock the 24?
Parent Rock was the larger one.
Yeah, so we'll probably go to that one first. And if they decline, then we have the fallback of the Smith Myth. But we'll show up to the Parent Rock tomorrow. 4,000 gold in tow, probably, plus whatever I need to carry, and haggle for that if everybody's still on board.
But if you buy this, we have to make double sure that you are not implicated in anything suspicious the rest of us do. The fewer of us that go with you, the better, so that our faces aren't recognized.
Well, who just went around? That was
Rez and I can go back.
Yeah, you guys go back, and you guys have that whole accountant thing going on. I think the other 3 of us should hang back and not be associated with you.
Yeah, for negotiation and razzle dazzle performance, It's definitely between the two of us, we should be able to hit them with enough persuasion to help our cause.
So, but this brings up an interesting thought of something. If you guys want to make sure that y'all are disassociated with them, getting in and out of the shop at that point, does that become like a stealth thing, or do y'all?
Well, I'm more worried about the actual, just the sellers knowing it.
I got you. I'm with you.
Yeah, once we own it, we get it figured out, set up. I mean, so where on the map is? Let's see. Sorry, I see your thing. I gotta move my thing around. Parent Rock is up there. Is that a road?
It's a what?
Is that the road that runs along there?
Yeah, I'm assuming these areas here, right? Right there. I think those are roads.
And then, so what is that kind of wispy stuff to the north of it? Is that kind of
that
hill?
Like hills, like what's the not lands of latitude?
It's like an elevation.
Elevation map. Yeah, contour map. Thank you. That's what I'm looking for.
So in theory, that's probably the easiest one if you're trying to sneak things in and out the city. The Smith Myth or the Parent Rock gives you the opportunity to, if you get through or over the wall, you've got the quickest way in and out. Now, the Smith Myth, the benefit of the Smith Myth is also on the water as well.
Right.
I'm assuming right here, this is like a bridge over the canal.
Yes. So you've got the river, like up here to the north, it's going to be the Moon Sea. So up here is the Moon Sea. So you've got this little inlet here that, kind of goes down this way, and this right here would be a bridge over there. That would be a bridge. I mean, this kind of ends up being like that right here. Kind of ends up being like a little, for lack of a better term, like a lake. But it's not the docks up here. This is where the docks are clearly.
I wonder who decided to build their walls halfway up a hill.
I'd say probably there's a contract there, maybe a union.
That is not a defensible part of the wall.
All right, yeah, that's fine. So, everybody's on board with 500 pitching in. No objections.
No objections from me. I said I've already taken the money out of our bags.
All right, now this also says this right here is the Tower of the Brotherhood of the Cloak, right there, and just what's this guy here? I can't read what number 5 is.
It's a tavern.
Oxpit.
And then the Temple of Bane is right there. The blades.
Yeah, so it's pretty centralized for everything we would need to do too. Again, the Smith Myth is definitely the one for if you're going to be running guns or something. Is probably the better location, given that it's going to have waterfront access and everything. But seeing as I think we're going to try and establish a little bit more credible business at the moment, we can buy this one, and then we can always come back around to the Smith Myth as well. Or depending on how the first sale goes, the Smith Myth was the guy that was probably most likely to sell anyway, so we could even come back around and buy that one at a later point.
Get over ahead of ourselves when it comes to
I'm saying if we do end up having more need to keep actions on the sly, being able to come in and out via waterway does definitely help that. All right, well then I am going to eat some dinner and call it a night tonight, but don't let me dissuade your RP. That means
I've made it up to the splash
in game, not out of game.
I figured.
That's it. I'm out. See you guys Monday.
All right, so everybody else?
I was not planning on going back out after my little escapades.
All right. Anything anybody else wants to do before we call nighttime and whatever.
I'm good.
Okay, but we're all clear on casting spells seems to be a problem, but using magic items does not appear to be a problem.
I'm not clear on it. Is it only if someone can see me?
Or
if somebody... I cast it in my room by myself, is someone going to catch me?
If it's, I think if somebody can see you or hear you, or if they hear, if they can identify it as you like wiggling your fingers and making the lightning, then there's probably a problem with that. But there's always a chance that you could try to convince them that you were using a magical item, which I'd already kind of looked up, based on what your earlier suggestion of trying to frame somebody for using magic. There's a way that we could do that too.
Oh, I have ways that I already know that will work.
Well, yeah, and I have things that will help us rule-wise. So there we go.
So that means, Eldon, you probably could cast Alarm then if you do it in our room and just don't shout the words of the chant incantation.
Right.
I'm totally not casting a spell in my room.
No one says you got to yell the incantation. You can be quiet.
I just sound like I'm praying when I'm doing stuff. I'm mumbling under my breath.
Yes, but are you praying to the right God? That's the thing. All right. Yeah, so anything else?
Not for me or Siona.
All right. Raz, last chance.
Nothing tonight.
All right. Well, the evening goes relatively uneventfully. Again, that's a fairly fortified and well-known tavern, and they take safety seriously. Of course, you're paying for that premium in this shady armpit of a city, but they value their trade, so that this place seems safe and secure. So the next morning gets up, and you are doing what you want to do. Sun is high, the weather is brisk and cold and windy, because y'all are in the northern latitudes and y'all are on a lake, so there's going to be some wind and some moisture. It's kind of chilly there. But it's the next morning, breakfast is being served, and y'all are up.
All right, so I am going to stay in the inn while they go off and make a purchase. I don't want to be seen by anyone, after yesterday. Until we're ready.
Okay. Who has that ferret mask?
I think I do at this point. It's just in the bag of holding, so anybody who needs access to it can get to it. But I think, based on what everybody was saying, that Eldon's got the best chance of having it work to his favor, unless someone else.
I can disguise myself, so I don't need it.
Right. But again, I have who's asking?
I was just out of curiosity. That was it. No reason.
I think if you have an item, you should take it, just delete it from that spreadsheet and put it on your character inventory, so you don't get confused. That's what I've been doing.
Yeah, I've seen this. Things have either been disappearing from the list, or people have tagged their name in one of the columns.
Yeah, I've been tagging names just because it's easier to manage in there than, unless I have to actually create the spell card on my character sheet. But yeah.
All right, so what's the game plan? Corn's going to be hanging out, laying low. Are y'all planning on staying or continuing your stay here at the Traveler's Cloak? Because I imagine, it's not going to be a, hey, here's some cash, and now y'all move in that same day. It provided that, that the sale happens. So you'd be thinking about what your long-term plan is, or at least the short-term plan, pre-closing. So Corin's hanging out. Eldon and Siona, or Eldon, what are you doing?
That's a good question. I guess so. There doesn't seem to be a problem using a magic item to cast magic or do use as magic. So, from the room, I guess I scry with the key to see
Okay.
which direction from there. And if Siona is willing to kind of venture out a little bit to kind of go get a lay of the land and talk to people. And now, what's this party that who got the information about the party?
I believe Razael got it.
Okay, so that's not something.
But I've relayed all of that to everybody.
Right, but I can't remember. We didn't have an invitation. We just know it's occurring.
Right.
Yes,
So-
you know that the one that will be occurring here in the next couple of days, and it will be going on for a full 10-day. So that would probably be a good opportunity to hobnob and mingle if you could get or curry an invitation for that.
So, yeah, I mean, does it make sense for Siona and myself to kind of go out and ask around about this party and see if we can find out, how maybe we could get into it or otherwise, and where it's being held, versus also if I'm going to scry the key right in the morning and see which direction it is from the inn. If people don't think that's a problem to do.
Sounds reasonable.
It does. Now, Chris, did I send you anything else more specific about that party? I can't remember.
I can read it again. Just that blur.
Okay. And I'll take another look on it. Because, again, the intent is for her to try to, we've talked about this. The feeling is she's going to use this to kind of get in good and make her name well publicized. So this, the word on the street is that this is going to be a party to not end all parties, but it's going to be a big thing.
I will read out this paragraph because I think it's the most important here, at least in terms of our goals. Maybe, I'm just kind of guessing. The least powerful arm of the ruling body in Mulmaster is the nobles. The least powerful is the nobles. There's a set number of nobles, 49, and they win their appointments through the vote of existing nobles whenever one of them dies. Anyone can petition, but success or failure is determined by the candidate's lineage and current wealth. The nobles are all but powerless except in name. Having the designation of nobility affords a family certain privileges and rights, but the opportunity to actually join the Blades is rare. When discussing nobility, one name was heard often, and that's Astrid Sage. She is a wealthy merchant who hopes to elevate her family and become one of the 49 nobles ruling Mulmaster. Mr. Sage is trying to impress the citizens, nobles, and commoners alike by hosting a party that lasts 10 days, and she knows that Mulmasterites take their festivities seriously, as those celebrations are an escape from their harsh reality.
Is this party going on now, or is it starting? How many days till it starts?
We're going to say it's going to start in about 3 days.
Okay.
So that means right now, maybe I missed it. The number of nobles is fixed, or anyone can just make it 50, 51.
It's fixed.
So she's trying to fill an opening.
One that they suspect is going to be occurring soon. There has been rumors that one of the elderly nobles is on death's door. And as far as they know, maybe he is already currently dead, and they are having a Weekend at Bernie's style shenanigans to try to make it look like he's still alive.
And so it's not hereditary.
No.
Okay.
At least not that I'm aware of.
You can change your stars.
Yes. All right, Eldon. If you're going to do it, let's see what happens when you focus in on that key, and you'll give me some Arcana check and tell us what happens as you're focusing in on it.
Oh, well, since I'm in my room, I'll get nice and comfy and sit down and focus on the key. Say a little prayer. Since it's morning time and it's, probably just got done with my prayers to Lathander. And just kind of sitting there looking at the key, holding it, and seeing what it will tell me. And if I can find there it is, Arcana. When it counts, I really can't roll.
So.
Yeah, navigating the forest isn't that easy, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know.
So yes, as you're focusing in on it, you feel like your will is in trying to reach in and bend through the we'll call it the force through this arcanic force of this key, but you're not able to really get anything, any knowledge out of it. Apparently, your focus was not in the right frame of mind, or wasn't in the right area today. But it's, again, you feel it's near, but you don't get any general sense.
You should have touched yourself while you were relaxing.
That does tend to clear the mind a little bit.
I thought we'd talked about this one before. Since I'm concentrating on the key, then I can't cast a concentration spell. I thought we had that before.
Well, if the key requires it, because concentration and spell concentration are. We talked about it, but it's a weird, especially for homebrew items. It's kind of hard to know. Is that?
Yeah. Right. I thought last week Adam had said that's concentrating on the key was concentrating.
And I may have, and just clearly keying on the word of concentrate. So, I mean, if that's the rule, if that's what I said, we'll just continue going with that. So we can try again. We can try again soon.
All you got to do is say it takes longer than a minute, and then the spell wears off anyways.
Yeah. So Eldon gets a little frustrated, and he's like, "What is wrong with this? I was able to do it before. Why this? Maybe
this city is full of negative energy, and I'm really not having it."
Right. All right.
So once a day thing, or could I try it?
I suppose you could try it. I mean, it's it's an Arcana thing. I assume you were proficient in that.
I am proficient in that. I will also sit down and relax and stop hitting Eldon with my mage hand and concentrate and do the same thing.
So, as you sit down and you take hold of the key, you're astounded with your ability, and your schooling to be able to concentrate, from what you learned back at the Tower of Light over in ye old Ecleros. And as you focus in on this, the key impresses upon you that the key is to your east from here, almost not exactly due east, but it is to the east of you. So in this general direction.
A lot of giant red buildings over there. I'm guessing it's going to be in one of them, one or two.
Tower of the Wyvern, and the the Thavian Embassy.
I doubt the Thavians have it.
I mean, there's also that big old Temple of Bane there, too.
Wait a minute. Who's that?
Right there.
Okay.
Oh, I thought that looked like a 3. That's a 7.
3 is down here because
Yeah,
E to me, so I couldn't tell that was a number. I thought that was another building or a line on that.
yeah,
So,
that's 1, 2, 3 is over here because they don't like putting things together. So that's 7.
Who numbered this?
Yeah, so chances might be pretty good that it's in one of those 4 locations.
Wonderful. Is that where the party is going to occur, in one of those buildings?
No. It's going to be at the Sage Estates, which I have not pinpointed on the map yet, but it's going to be somewhere in the city.
Oh, but we don't know where it is yet.
No, mainly because I haven't looked at it yet.
That's what Fiona and I will be like asking around about, I guess, today.
That's a good idea. That'll give me some time to figure it out. All right. Razael?
And
go ahead.
Eldon's a little bit depressed about how easily Corin just picked this key up and was able to communicate with it. So,
Hey, man, if I had an attention span, I could have been a mage.
well,
So Eldon's going to sulk about this for a little while?
yeah, maybe for a half a minute. But he's usually pretty happy and good-natured, so he'll get over it.
All right. Razael?
I suppose myself and Thongrim will make our way to...
Oh, then our location to pick for you're going to Parent Rock, right?
Yeah, we're going to Parent Rock, the largest of the shop. So we will mosey over that way.
In our finest mercantilely, officially looking get-ups.
Sure, I'll throw my fine clothes on. 10 gold well spent.
I'm assuming y'all are going to be sticking to the main roads?
Sure.
Like a north to the northeast, to the east, and then to the north? Something like that? Following that road?
Where are we again? Sorry. What number are we? Oh, there?
Yeah. Like to...
Yeah, I mean, I think you'd take there and then take the right up to the main crossroad and then take another right.
Like that? Like that?
That or just follow the first road all the way up to the top and then come across, which I don't really know.
Okay, no, that's fine. That's we're good.
They're both pretty much direct.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so as y'all are, you take your leave and start moseying around. As you get up to this intersection right here, you start seeing some crowds gathering, and there's kind of a big hullabaloo right there. A mob of people are growing and shouting at the stocks, and you're trying to get a peek in. Razael obviously picks up on it a little sooner, but they are not hiding their anger. And you get a peek of this woman as she's been caught up in the stockades there, and looking towards the flanking the stockades there. You see several members in these very distinctive cloaks, watching over the events as the townspeople start throwing what looks like starts with vegetables and cabbages, pelting this young lady. And as the temperature of the mob heats up, rocks start being thrown, and they start pelting this woman in the stockades. As apparently a sentence has been laid down on this woman.
And normally there's like a sign or something, right?
Normally, you can't necessarily read it from this far back. Do y'all want to kind of ask around and see what's going on, or do you want to keep moving on?
Yeah, I'll stop and on the outskirts, just find the last person I see who threw a piece of vegetable. And I kind of scoff and say, "What did this one do?"
This one? Well, this woman, she piece of filth. We caught her, and she was casting hexes on her children, and she must pay for her sins. One does not do that to children, much less casting magic in this city, and we'll stone her. Stone her for the bitch she is.
I will nod approvingly, find something nearby, and attempt to throw it at the...
Yes, she will pay for it. As he goes back into the mob and continues to throw whatever vegetables he has left. So apparently that, this lady she was caught casting something, but doubly so on her own children. Apparently the populace has turned against this woman.
How do we know she's a witch?
Well, you do see also off, a couple of, feet, a few meters away from the barracks, there is a scale there, and, big, on one side of them, there is this duck that's sitting there. Apparently, she must have weighed about as much as a duck.
The justice system is swift, but fair.
So I assume you would like to continue moving on as this frenzy has gone up, and this is in the mid-morning here, so it's has brought up it's quite a lively area of town at the moment, and you do see some of the city watch kind of walking around the perimeter, attempting to mildly rein in the chaos, but clearly nobody has been taken into custody.
Yeah, I'll otherwise keep a normal profile and just keep walking. Do I notice anything special about her? Or is she just on the gallows or whatever?
Yeah, she's just up there. You don't see anything spectacular about her. You're just assuming justice has been dealt with, or been dealt swiftly.
I move on.
Okay. So, as you make your way, nothing else really outside of the norm. You have the various street vendors hawking breakfast foods and drinks. You make your way through a small market area. And the closer you get to the area of Parent Rock, you hear the bellows, and you hear the fires being tended to, the distinct sounds of hammers striking anvil and striking metal, as the forges are in full production. Obviously, there's some soot, and it's kind of a dingy area, as you would expect when you get close to a blacksmith like this. But you walk up and you see this up to this fairly, substantial, building in this area, and with the signage on there. It's a Parent Rock, and it's with sign on that has one large rock on it, but surrounding the rock are two or three little smaller rocks around it. But you come up to the establishment, and there you are.
So, just a point of order for you and Ash. Did we say that we were necessarily from Bloodbath and Beyond as we were offering to buy, or did we just ask, hey, are you up for selling if we got...
You tell me, because
I imagine we would have introduced ourselves as, fellow shop owners. I mean, again, our guild, we are in the guild, so being, showing guild credentials to them as we were making the rounds would have probably came up with, it probably would have came up with, oh, you're in the guild, what do you own, so on and so on.
Okay, that makes sense. What is the proprietor's name?
One would have thought I would have had that ready. I probably do. Hang on. So you get in, you walk in, and the proprietor's name is a haughty-looking woman. Well, that's not her name, but it's a haughty-looking woman that appears to go by the name of Barbara.
All right, I will walk in, and do I see Barbara in the shop?
You catch a glimpse, towards the back of the, you walk in, and there's, being a larger shop, there's, a bigger storefront with the different areas. You have some swords and battle axes on one side, some fine armor in a different area. It looks, they've taken some time to really make this a nice storefront. And towards the back, there's, you can see an opening that leads back to their forge. And you see that, somebody who appears to, run the place, yelling, cracking the proverbial whip at some of the interns and, journeyman, the blacksmith back there. You get the feeling that this woman, is probably Barbara.
Well, we met her yesterday. Would she have introduced herself yesterday as Barbara?
Sure. So she's kind of a stocky woman, got tough looking, toughened skin. There's clear burn marks and scars where she's been, up and down her arms and around her face. She's, not one to not get her hands dirty. But yeah, you would have met her at some point, yes, and or yesterday during this. So yeah, she probably would have introduced herself. And so as she sees you walking in, comes up, and I'm not going to try to do a voice because that's just not going to happen. But she comes up and introduces herself. It's good to see you again. Welcome to Parent Rock. This is, again, my fine establishment. I have thought about what we spoke about in brief, and I'd like to get a little more information from you on what really brings you to this fine town of Mulmaster.
Well, to be honest with you, Barbara, the town of Oldenburg has been a bit stale of late. The orders that we've been receiving lately have been somewhat, they've been weaned off a little bit. We're not quite sure why. We've my business partner Thongrim and I, we've discussed this, and we think that it would be best to sort of get ahead of this and perhaps move on and expand before we find ourselves completely out of business. Oldenburg is a good city, don't get me wrong, but it's a good hub. But normally a place like Oldenburg is where we would expect expansion to take place, and lately we just haven't seen that opportunity. But here in Mulmaster, with the trade routes and the size of the city, we really think we can strike gold here. And certainly, you set a fair price. We've talked about this last night. We think it's a good deal for everyone involved. But you must understand, we are aspiring entrepreneurs, and a city like Mulmaster looks like just the place where we need to set up shop.
Well, this here is a fine establishment, and I've been at this for For many years, um, going on 25 years, and I've been thinking it might be time to maybe let it go. While I mean, it's with our contracts with the blades, and it's a mighty fine income, but sometimes their deadlines are very very hot and heavy. And I mean, Master Thongrim, you having be a smith yourself, you know how these deadlines can be. And I applaud you for wanting to expand. I don't see. It's not something. I've worked many years to build up this area as you know, build up this shop, but being able to run two of them and so far away. Tell me what's what's the word I'm looking for? Your impetus. Why do you want to do this? Go with simple words.
Well, I mean, it's easy to see. My family, it's a family business. I have family running this establishment back home. I have no doubts that it is running like I left it. And expansion is a natural part of business. Every major city we've visited so far that we felt we would be a good place we've looked into, as we've journeyed eastward. But Mulmaster is the first place we've really stayed long enough to consider laying down roots. And the size and the scope of the church and our experience dealing with the church makes this a natural part of business.
I can't argue with that. If you don't mind me asking, what other locations have you been scouting?
We scouted the town of Bird People, Coagulacatagos.
I have trouble with that.
There was not a Coataloc to do there, so we kind of moved on. Their disloyalty to the church and their belief in false gods made us worried about the long-term survivability of a franchise. Plus, not being a bird person myself, they're kind of territorial, and the only shops that seemed to really prosper there were owned by other bird people.
I've heard of that place, Kawata Snappa Kapadapa. It sounds like just a dreadful place, and I'm glad that the church has finally cracked down on them. Just the bird people, just a filthy, filthy race. And the Joaquin, the temple there, just not worth the weight that we were paying them for their mithril. But now that the church has got an inroad there, we've got a fair supply coming into our shop. And the High Blade has made specific requests, specifically for us to make and forge for him. Do you have any experience forging mithril?
Somewhat. Not like an extensive. Hasn't been a large part of our business, but it's similar to the other metals and platinum and other things. I feel that with a limited amount of experience, we can figure out the ins and outs of it. Plus, I don't want you to worry about your staff here. They will all be interviewed, and the ones worth keeping will be kept on. I don't feel like having to foster an entirely new staff. So those that can hold their weight and perform at the level I expect will be retained.
Question for the DM: does any smithy in Aldenburg have experience smithing?
Smithing with mithril over in Aldenburg? I'd say it's probably not a common metal over there. seeing as that this was the capital and that they had been kind of farming out this the mining operations of Mithril out of that Coatalaco area. I'd say a lot of the Mithril have been funneling into this area, only then to be traded outwards, traded away for fun and profit, and glory. So there may be some, but I'd say it's uncommon in the Oldenburg area. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I was just, as Thongrim was saying, that Razael would have been thinking, like, if he knew that, which he probably would, as much as we've been running this little racket, like, would we be in over our heads down the street, or would, assuming that we keep the staff on board, we just kind of rely on them to do all the heavy lifting because they know what they're doing?
And probably a good idea to rely on the staff. I mean, that would be my guess. I mean, I don't know how much y'all are going to get into the day-to-day operations. I mean, I'll get into it as deep as y'all want to, or high level as you want.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, we can keep going. I was just thinking.
And so Barbara looks at you and kind of, she's kind of eyeing you up and down as the conversation goes on. I mean, and y'all sit down. She takes you back to her office and offers you some tea and light refreshments. As much you would get, probably some form of takeout from a local, street cart. Yes, that's the kind of good food that only those local to the area know about. She's taking in what you're saying and getting to know you a little bit better. Do y'all have any specific questions for her?
So, yeah. Assuming that Barbara and Thongrim are kind of done talking, I'll wait till the end of their natural conversation.
Well, I'm assuming it's ebbing and flowing, and she's asking, hey, she'll look across the table, as they're having their snacks. So tell me about some of your more interesting orders, or interesting creations that you have produced, Thongrim.
We made most recently, before departing, was a series of very ornate celebratory armors for the advancement of certain church paladins, emblazoned with copper and very ornate. They were fascinating and functional should the need arise. And our family does many things. My axe is probably the finest example of our craftsmanship that we have. And I don't know if I would be carrying that currently, but probably. So here, take a look at this.
And she takes a look at it. She eyes you a little cautiously as you pull it out, but that's just her natural distrust of people unsheathing their weapons in front of her.
I assume like everybody here has either got a sword or a hammer or something across their back. It seems like that kind of town, right?
Yeah, I mean, it would be. I mean, it's not uncommon, but that's why she's kind of wary. It's like, hey, you don't know how it's going to go. But as you offer, I'm assuming you offered to her like hilt first. So roll me a persuasion check as you're telling her about this fine blade. Okay, sorry, I was waiting for the house announcement to end. She takes this blade from you, and she's quite astonished at just the craftsmanship and the workmanship of this. And you say this has been in your family. This is a family heirloom. Did you personally craft this, or did this come from future or prior generations?
It's prior generations, but it's the craftsmanship handed down through our family that is the cornerstone of the Bloodbath and Beyond franchise. My grandfather taught my father taught me, And this is a testament of what you should see as a quality line from the Bed Bath & Beyond. Granted, this particular weapon is much finer quality and would cost more than your typical rabble defensive trading sword or something, but the edge on and the general care and wear, and the longevity of it, those things should be maintained even for the most throwaway or disposable of weapon.
I see, and I can truly respect that. So, I get the feeling you're eager to make this transaction.
Well, with the celebration coming up and many of the guild and the merchants being tied up in that, I fear if we don't do it now, it could be quite some time before such a deal could be closed. So if we are to close a deal, that would be preferred. My man here is more than capable of dealing with the numbers here, as he handles my books. But yes, I would prefer to have this done and closed ahead of the party, and you, of course, would be invited as a guest of the shop, so that you could, make introductions to those and let us know who's who, the movers and shakers. But also, should you feel the need to announce your exit from the immediate merchant marketplace and your availability to pursue other options and other fineries, then
that's extravaganza that I keep hearing about. I do.
I believe that was her name. Large 10-day party, all the merchants. I'm not really quite sure what the reasoning for it all is, but when we arrived and introduced ourselves to the guild, they, made it fairly clear that within a few days from now, getting any official business would be very difficult.
And I do agree. I mean, that 3 days, that's... And while I did not necessarily expect such an offer to come quite so quickly, I'm not sure we can close within 3 days.
Well, we will not be going through the bank. Is that true, my good man? We don't need funding. We will pay straight up in gold, I believe.
Well, that would...
Now, my associate here will have to confirm the books and let me know if that is the case, but I do believe we will not need funding and that we can make this go quicker.
Well, that, again, I not having to finance through the various banking, and if we can leave some of the other guilds out of this would be nice. I mean, we'll still have to likely run this through and make sure all the proper wheels are greased, if you understand. We may have to, what's the proper word to say, maybe expedite some of these processes. There could be ways to grease those wheels, though. Razael, you said you had something you wanted to talk about?
Well, I hate to put a sour mood on things, but a business transaction of this size, while I keep you at your word that you're running an upstanding business here, I would be amiss if we did not require at least some sort of rudimentary inspection, you see. Do you mind if we take a look around, maybe talk to some people, or even better, just take a look at your current stock, just to see what we're dealing with?
That is only fair. Only fair. She's willing to walk you around and show you various things. Is there something in particular? Are you trying to do this with out of game? Are you trying to do this without her?
No, I'm taking a look at the inventory, kind of nodding my head, that's good. And then I'll whisper to Thongrim as we're looking, I don't really know what I'm looking for, But if we see something that looks wrong, let me know, and maybe we can get a
Get a dick?
That's what I heard. I'm assuming there's an out at the end of that.
Oh, did I? I took my finger off the button. Yes, a discount.
And he
That's
did
a
it
very
again.
crucial, I heard discount that time.
Yes, very important syllable.
Barbara, we were hoping for a... So yeah, I'll just walk around, kind of nodding, looking like I'm inspecting, but really I don't know weaponry, and it would be up to Thongrim to actually know if this inventory looks like it's worth a damn.
I got it. So you can give me a performance check while Thongrim gives me an actual investigation check to look through and actually analyze what's going on here. All the while, she's going to roll an insight check.
Well, she's bad at insight.
And Thongrim with a... There it is.
There's that Master Smith.
Yeah. Yes. And we'll even say with advantage. So, yeah, she's completely, walking around with you and as, as if, completely believes what y'all are doing. As she's walking around, she's very proud of her wares and shows you some of the recent helms that she has cast out of kind of a straight steel, but there's some silver inlay and some silver filigree, just for some panache on there. And she's pointing out that the fineries of that detail, looking at Thongrim, for approval, of her handiwork.
How good is this stuff? Is it garbage quality, decent quality?
You rolled a 12.
You rolled a 12. So you would think, hey, this looks pretty good from what you can tell. It is certainly not shit, but you don't see any noticeable flaws. I mean, it passes a good sniff test for you. You're feeling kind of good that you might be able to put the family.
I don't have to melt the whole stock down.
Wait, do you want to melt the whole stock down, or?
Well, I mean, it's not just like if I start putting my brand on this stuff, I'm not going to have to basically melt it all down and start over.
Not all of it, although there could be some of it that you might come up with a new brand name for lesser stock. I mean, this isn't the stuff that you're looking at is not necessarily the finest, but it's certainly not garbage.
Not that we have to put your maker's mark on it, because
that's
still all
true.
just a cover shop.
Well, it is and it isn't. I mean, it is. We do have alternate motives for this, but I am 100% sincere in expanding the brand. Similar to like we did with the Castle Frederick.
Gotcha.
That was definitely us trying to get into the castle, but I was 100% committed to expanding into the supplying the militia with arms and armor. Like I will support everything in it, but at the end of the day, I am a businessman. Hey, give me 90 seconds. I'll be right back.
And counting.
Raz can carry this.
And I'll go. So I'll say, okay, everything looks really good so far. I'm clearly not the master, but I've been around this stuff. I'm getting a knack for it. This appears to be up to snuff. Do you mind if I talk to your Master Smith for just?
Oh, by all means. I've liked what I've heard so far. This is, if we are to do business, it only makes sense for you to, interview the current staff. I will say, out of game, this, we're going to say that y'all have been here a couple of hours going through this, and this is not a small meeting.
Okay, and I will attempt to find, the chief, if you will, the engineer, the Master Smith, and just And I'll just ask him, how have things been? Has the crew been stressed out with increased demands from the city? Do you think, how's the quality of the work been? Have you been, substituting quality for quantity? That kind of general, how have things been lately? Sort of round of questions.
Okay, so he, you know what? Let's do this. Roll me a persuasion check and against his insight to see how free he is with things, and he rolled a 13 for what it's worth. All right. So he's clearly caught wind that you're, looking to purchase the establishment. So, and he's been around the block a few times, so he knows internally that, anytime somebody buys things, there's a chance he may lose his job. But he's, taking you at your word, and comes. He's like, with anything, there are ebbs and flows. I very rarely sacrifice quality when it comes to my work, but sometimes the church and the soldiery, they come through and they ask for a good bit of arms as they prepare to send their troops out. And just between me, you, and the fence post. Between me, you, and the fence post, occasionally some things slip through. But our guys have been here for a while. We work well together. I mean, sometimes there's been some turnover in the forge, when some of the street rats think that they can pull one over on us. And, well, we don't take kindly to them. And those that we catch, we turn over to the city watch. Won't say that I have not personally taken care of one unscrupulous person who tried to steal from me. But we won't hear from him anytime soon.
Well, that's all good to hear, and it's certainly understandable. And rest assured, we have no intent, and obviously Thongrim's the boss, but we've talked this over. We have no intent of attrition in your staff. Everyone here has a job. Just keep working. In fact, if you need anything to help move the process along, feel free to bring it up to Thongrim. Open door policy. He listens to all your needs. And in fact, just to keep a finger on the pulse, we're actually going to be staying here for a while, upstairs or wherever Barbara has told us the appropriate abode is for this place. Just to get a feel for operations and talk business and make sure things are up to snuff. And obviously, if you have any questions, you can come to us anytime during the working hours. We'll just be upstairs if you need us. Hopefully that will put you a little bit at ease.
Well, that is good to know. At least being able to know where to find you in case things go wrong. But that's good. Barbara is good. She's been a good boss, and she has been speaking of, this is not a surprise. It's a bit sooner than we expected, but it was still expected nonetheless. He didn't seem to bat an eye at, you saying that you were going to be staying upstairs, so, apparently there's, that won't be the first time that, that people are up there.
Yeah, and I will tell the rest of the group later when we reconvene that I've told the smith that a couple of us will be here, so it will not look, at least to his eyes, hopefully it will not look odd if he sees some of us coming and going, which was my intent there.
Good to know.
Well, all right, good man. Like I said, let us know if you need anything. Just consider it under new management and business as.
Okay. So anything else that y'all want to speak to Barbara about before we try to finalize this?
Oh, Ash, I don't think there's any room for a discount here.
I mean, we can. Like I said, if we want to haggle the price, I mean, we haven't really talked price yet. So, if you want to try to haggle that, I'm more than willing to support that. I mean, it's a risk it goes poorly. I said.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose, and again, with the trying to get this signed, sealed, and delivered, I mean, she'd have to move out and do all these things. Within 3 days, that's probably gonna take a little more time than she was expecting.
Yeah, but a giant sack of money also.
A giant sack of money goes a long way.
So Barbara, I'll tell you what. Be honest with you, it looks like you're running a good place. I didn't see any foreseeable problems. The agreed upon price seems fair. But that said, seeing that financing is not an issue, I tell you what. If you could take 200 gold off the price, you'll have a sack of coins on your front desk in 5 minutes, and we'll even help you move out and get all your affairs in order of the next few days. Consider it my personal guarantee.
200 off, and you want to include inventory?
I'm afraid inventory is a must, yes. Especially with the city demanding so much from your workers, I'm afraid that must be included in the cost. We just simply wouldn't have time to create inventory from ground to the...
All right, roll. What are we doing here? We're doing. I need a check. So I was going to say, is this more persuasion? Is this more intimidation? What's the gist here?
No, I'm definitely not trying to be. My checks are about the same, but I'm trying not to be intimidating. I'm really just saying, like, hey, it's a good deal we got on your table. Like, the offer that you said is fine, but if you'll take 200 less, we'll with inventory, we'll help kind of move you out, because I know that's one of your concerns.
You really got to hold that thumb down the entire time you're speaking.
Okay, so roll me a persuasion check. And what's her bonus? What's her insight? Hang on.
Yeah, hold on. I'm having some weird input keyboard and mouse issues. I'm sorry.
All right, we'll take the 22.
I clicked it once. I don't know.
All right, so she's got, and this would be an insight check, right? So now I rolled 15. She's got a 5, so she rolled a 20. And we're taking your last one, I assume.
No, I mean, you can take the first one. It's what I first rolled.
Okay. All right. So she comes back. It's like 200's a bit steep, especially if you're looking to take ownership here in 3 days. I hate to be a stick in the mud about this, and I know I've been looking for this, but I must say I must be quite firm on the 4,000.
Well, I understand. Like I said, it is a fair offer. Thongrim. Any objection? It's your shop.
I do appreciate a good deal as much as the next one. We will try not to run into the ground.
Well, please, I mean, do try not to. Again, we do have some fairly well-known buyers, people, customers, clients, our clientele, and I do take pride in my work. But I do have to look out for me and my own, and this has been a long time coming. In order to be able to dip out, and she would not say the word dip out, but in order to leave with my head held high, I think this is as good as we can go.
And please, over the next few days, as we finalize this transaction, call your contracts and bring them in. Allow us a transitionary period to meet the new people. Anyone that doesn't come by, obviously. And, of course, be our guest at the party should you have any trouble getting in. And we'll make our more introductions there.
So, now I have a point of order. You talked about having this. Did we talk about you guys actually getting invitations to the party, or are you just speculating that you have one?
I assumed it was part of it's for the merchants. This is what you made it sound like. So I assume as a merchant, all merchants would then be invited, most likely.
Oh, I also assumed that.
I thought it was. Yeah.
Sorry, maybe I just hadn't. Okay. Maybe I have just not. I've gotten ahead of myself. No, that's you're right.
It's like when you get mail, right?
Yeah.
To Barbara or current occupant.
Yeah, I suppose that this would be a good a segue as she's like, be a guest to the party. I've already got an invitation, but if you're buying it from me, I suppose you're going to be the or current occupant. Either way, we'll figure that out. We will assume an invitation is there, and maybe more direct ways than just that one. But yes, okay, we'll proceed with that.
And it only costs us 4,000 gold.
Only. That's okay. You've probably sold off how many tons of jade and copper to.
All right, so I'm going to drop mine down by 2,000, and everyone else was dropping theirs down by 500, right?
Yes, and that we are going to say there is going to be a weekly cost there that we'll figure out.
Yeah, at some point hopefully you'd hope that the shop is profitable enough that it covers its own expenses, but.
Right, but there's still going to be a maintenance cost that we've got right now. And we're saying it's 80 gold a week, but we'll figure out the rest of it. But just to put it out
still
there,
cheaper than staying in an inn.
A skill check for how to run a small business.
It's in Xanathar's.
Yeah. There's actually there is. So the maintenance cost is 80 gold a week, but I do have a table here. 1 second.
Did I lose you?
No.
Oh, sorry. Suddenly you cut off and everything went quiet.
Yeah, I was wondering the same thing, but.
So I guess it sounds like we spit in our hands, shake, proverbial handshake, and put 4,000 gold on the table.
Yeah, that sounds good. She reaches across and she's like, okay, so within 3 days, I will be out of here and you will take ownership of the building. I will just advise you, some parting words of wisdom. Be wary of the cloaks, and the soldiery. Just be aware of she tells you about some of the different areas, to be careful of the Thieves Guild, and just the laws here are strict, and she just will give you some heads up on that. So just assume that conversation has taken place. But
she said, "Beware did she say the cloaks or the blades?"
The cloaks.
Okay.
You mentioned the contracts. We'll work on that. I'll try to come up with some of that offline.
Yeah, and Razael will. He's going to actually, get some of the contracts, and he's been doing like the Idris Elba from The Wire thing, like he actually has to learn how to run a business now instead of just doing it as a stupid bookkeeping cover. So he's going to be spending his nights learning how to do bookkeeping and contract work.
Yeah. So y'all have asked for this.
Yeah, I guess so.
Isn't intelligence
Well,
just dump stat?
it's a bit of a fake it. It's a bit of a fake it till you make it. But at the same time, like I would assume from being around, kind of you were more integrated into Ecleros and some of that. So it's like I would assume that you have a little bit of, I don't want to call it accounting in you, but just the ability of kind of bookkeeping and orderly stuff. From
I dropped out of
keeping
school, though.
but you had to keep your own. I mean, you would have had to manage your own money and make sure you didn't starve to death and everything, unless you were really living hand to mouth as a musician. I would assume you have some ability to kind of
job, but not like running my own business kind of job.
Okay,
So this is definitely.
Isn't intelligence just dump stat?
Yep.
It's all right. I know how to run a business. I just need you to make sure that money's going where it needs to be. So we'll sort it out. If we need to hire somebody, we can. We rich, son.
I will be your apprentice then.
So if you look over on the Discord thing, posted a little table there, the running a business table. So whenever we roll this check, as often as we remember it, we'll say, for however many weeks, this would be your business roll, and let me see what you would actually roll that on. Because if it's got a 30 on there, I mean, there's got to be something that you're running that against. I'll do this even better. So the skill check would be based on one of these things. And I will paste that as well. Hang on. Actually, as a matter of fact, let me just do this. I will share it. How do I share these things? Can I share a file to Discord?
I've never.
One way to find out.
All right, one more second. That was quick.
Somebody did all the work. I just Googled.
All right, did you see that PDF come across?
Yes.
All right, so I think you can pick a skill check that you want to run the business as, and the result, comes from these things.
So we can pick. Is it Thongrim skills or mine and Thongrim? One of our skills.
I think one of you has to make. We'll figure out which one of you, but you can pick between.
One of those plus 11s. One of those plus 11s. That'll be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll talk it out off band then.
Yeah. So you may not always have to pay that, but you're looking at the maintenance cost per week is going to be the 80 gold there. And then so it may cover its costs. We'll go from there. But hey, we have something, and I think this is not too heavy-handed of an extra rule to go by.
We'll make the roll twice and never remember again.
I don't know about that, because something else that just we'll say what I was going to do is, as you're looking through and y'all are finalizing things, I was going to have you roll a perception check to see, as Raz was putting the coinage on the desk and everything, you see this bowl of mints on there, but roll a perception check for me.
Me?
Yeah. Yes, you. All right. So, an 11. is enough for you to see a continued bowl of mint.
Ooh, mints.
Little candies there. So, do you take one?
Sure.
All
Wait.
right.
Roll a saving throw against poison.
No. But
Those were for the toilet.
no. But you do pop one in your mouth, and you realize that it is not a mint. And you chop down on it, and you realize quite quickly before you do that it is indeed not a mint. But you have discovered, and let me see if I can figure out how to roll this again, because it's been a while since I've rolled from this table.
It's the 1+1 on your wisdom.
Jack of all trades. Took me forever to figure out it applied to that.
Wisdom skill?
Yeah, it's ability check, I guess.
Yeah, I guess it is. You're right. I guess it basically doesn't apply to attack rolls and saving throws. Everything else gets it. Have you got it on your initiative?
I think I do, yeah. Yeah, because my dex is 3, but my initiative is +4.
One of the most OP combinations is if you combine Jack of all trades with a level 11 rogue. It says that rogues can't roll anything less than a 10 on things they're proficient with, and Jack of all trades counts. So I'd be proficient in every skill, if it were 10 or higher, and initiative. It'd be a terrible combo for me because I have, charisma and whatnot. But
you could run a rich business.
Combine that, then a little bit of War Wizard to get your intelligence modifier on your initiative, and you'd be rolling. I'd roll like a minimum of like 17 or 20.
So did I just put a charm in my mouth?
You just discovered a charm.
It's a bit nutty.
Oh, well,
that's your teeth.
I have no idea what that one does, by the way.
Yeah, Razael, are pretty sure those are actually for the embedding into the weapons and armor. But
I'm pretty sure they haven't invented.
Go ahead and swallow.
I take it out of my mouth and I go, that would explain the flavor.
But it is yours to keep if you so wish.
Or lack thereof. Flavor, that is.
I will say, as owning the shop, and as smooth as this can go as possible, I really don't want to get into the setting prices and haggling. Oh, somebody wants to buy a charm. What's a charmed weapon? That seems like a lot. But I will do to whatever degree you want us to run this.
I think that's what that business roll's for, to abstract that all away.
Yeah, if you need us to come up sometimes, we have special customers or haggle special contracts. I mean, we are running this, and you can work that into the degree that you want. If you just want to consider it part of the world we live in from now on and just roll off that table every so often, then we are okay with that as well. Or I am okay with that.
And I definitely don't mind doing anything through emails, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, my goal was to try to find something as painless as possible to deal with this. But if we want to get in, it gives us something else to deal with, another inroad, and we can make this as complicated and involved as we want, or we can say, hey, we have gone through and done all of these things, and now we just have a role here, and maybe there's some money that comes back from it.
That sounds about right. So I'm not going to curtail this, but we now own a shop. We have moved old girl out. We've met some people. We've moved things in. If you don't have anything particularly planned between now and then, I'm happy saying, I'm not going to speak for anyone else. I'm more than willing to say, we are at the party day or whatever, and that we're old girl shows back up and we're heading to the party to make introductions or something. But I don't know how you want to do that. So if you want to do things between that, I assume we would. It's a good place to meet, other things. But I assume maybe in the 3 days between there, we'll find out more about the party and more we need to do. I mean, Corin may be contacted by the Thieves Guild who needs something from it as well. So I'm not going to advance. I'll accelerate or decelerate the passing of time as much as you want.
I will say this. Everything Razael is doing is to get to that party so he can bump elbows with.
Okay. So a couple of things. So we're going to... and if everybody's okay with that, we will kind of move forward in time a little bit. But we are going to say it's going to take probably 2 more days of you guys before you can move in to that. So if y'all are still going to be staying at the tavern, the Traveler's Cloak, that'll be another 2 days of gold there. For everybody. As you go through and as contracts come in, it would have this sale this sale would have caught wind and had been gone through the town fairly quickly, and that Parent Rock has been going under new management, and it would have taken notice because an establishment like this would have taken note. And I would say that within the coming days, you would have, as you're looking over the books and doing the conversion of the shop. And taking over one afternoon, and we'll call it the midday of the second day before the party. In walks in this fairly noble-looking woman who comes asking for the manager of this new establishment. And I would assume that that Razael would probably be the person who would intercept and greet this person into in the storefront. Is that correct?
Yeah, if Barbara's moved out, I can't speak for Thongrim, but I'm definitely going to be staying upstairs.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, as we start this, we're definitely going to be. At least I will be, in the shop. Slinging hammers is some, and getting familiar with the staff, and figuring out who can stay and who can go, and who's got problems, and who was loyal to Barbara and not really pulling their weight, and so on and so on. If we have to interview, new people from some of these other shops that may want to come over, so be it.
Okay.
I'm literally just watching, like he said, to fake it till I make it.
All right. And so at this point, I'd assume Siona's making her way over, and Eldon, and everybody's kind of busy, putting this place together. I would ask...
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to do. So if we needed a cover or anything like that, you can definitely, have them here remodeling the upstairs or whatever we need to facilitate our needs.
Right. So I would ask if somebody would come up with, a general sketch or a layout or something of what the first floor and what the second floor, what that would look like.
Yeah, I'll Google around.
Just come up with something that we can use. If this is your base of operation, give me an idea of what this looks like.
Two stories in a sub basement, or 2 stories, or what do we do?
At least 2 stories. What do you think? There's probably some sort of sub basement. There's probably something there, because you got to think slag or silt or some garbage has got to go somewhere.
Yeah, well, if you're storing stuff, you're probably not storing it upstairs in the living quarters. I'll find something else and.
Yeah, because it may come back. It'll prove useful, I think, at some point. Okay, so this lady comes in and is asking for the manager. So who comes and greets her?
Raz, you can do that. I suppose you are the acting manager.
Do we have a name for a new store, or are we keeping the parent rock?
I think Bloodbath and Beyond is the name, right?
I'm down with that.
Bloodbath and Beyond of Mulmaster.
Good day, my lady. Welcome to Bloodbath Beyond Mulmaster. Grand opening. How can I help you?
Yes, I was couldn't help but take notice of the, of the new management. We've done some. Me and my family have done some work here with Parent Rock, and have been quite happy with their work. And then we were somewhat surprised to hear that they have sold out to Bloodbath and Beyond. Do you say? Well, I wanted to come down myself and introduce myself to the new owners and make sure that you were aware of some things. First things first. My name is Mistress Astrid Asajj, and who are you?
Oh, my name is Razael Ventanian. I'm the accountant and contract keeper for Bloodbath. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Oh no, the pleasure is all mine, and you must be new here, and I had to. I was very curious to meet you, somebody to come in and take ownership of such a fine establishment as Parent Rock. I simply had to come and introduce myself and make sure that you were aware. As you may have heard the rumors, but I will be throwing an extravaganza here in the next 10 days, and it will be starting next week. Or not next week, tomorrow. What? Oh, these days have been blurring together. There's so many things that I'm trying to get together. But I wanted to make sure that you and your higher ups had an invitation to come specifically come down to my to the Sage estate and partake in our extravaganza. One, to welcome you to the fine city of Mulmaster, and one, it would give you an opportunity to meet several of the nobles and the Zors and Zoras of the area. Consider this a personal invitation, and I would love to have you to show you around town.
Well, many obliges for the invitation. That is much appreciated. We were actually just talking the other day about us needing to become more familiar with both the nobles and the general people alike. We plan on being here a long time, and I feel we don't really have any personal relationships yet, so I very much look forward to this. I must ask, how many people would you like us to bring to this soiree?
Well, I would... the more the merrier, I would say. I mean, this is open for all, from the lowest to the highest. I sincerely hope that many of the Zor and Zora decide to come, as well as the working class. I want this to be a quite a spectacle, a 10-day to remember. For one and all to come and forget the hardships of their days. So it's if you have 10, 15 people, please, there will be food and drink, libations for all. There will be quite a good many things. Now, as far as getting into the estate, we'll say 5 people, maybe 6. Just let me know when you arrive on the first day, and I'll make sure that your name is on the list, Mr. Razael. But this is going to be a quite a to-do, if you would. Higher, upper society, lower society, and all from the Sage estate. We are doing this with Mulmaster in mind.
Well, thank you again. I will certainly let my boss know as soon as possible. By the way, the proprietor's name, Mr. Thongrim Fireforge. long history of smithing from Oldenburg. Maybe you've heard of the family name, but if not, we'll be sure to regale you with his story upon our arrival there. Hopefully, we'll get a chance to talk more at your shindig.
Oh, well, yes. The Fireforge family, it's not one that I'm personally involved with, but I will reach out to my contacts down in Aldenburg. I'm sure they will have nothing but good to say about that, but I wanted to take the time to come down here and make sure that you were aware and personally invited to my party.
Well, the staff and ownership here at Bloodbath Beyond extends our sincerest thanks. And goes into a deep bow.
She blushes a little bit. Oh, that is not necessary, but definitely appreciated. And so she ends up taking her leave. She has some bodyguards around her. Obviously, watching out for her. But you are left with this, invitation. In script. It's a very nice invitation, if you would. Looks like there may even be some what's that word? Calligraphy on there, which looks very nice.
I will tuck it away safely upstairs and tell everyone about it.
I will come out from the back forge as they leave. Oh, who was that?
So you know that Astrid Sage lady I was telling you about before? Well, guess who's at our front doorstep?
Oh, yeah. What she want?
Well, for some time I've been thinking about how are we going to, nuzzle our way up into this party, and sure enough, she just shows up with an invitation for us, for 5 of us, which I find to be quite convenient.
Well, I mean, we just have a very large staff here as one of the larger shops in town, so myself, I imagine I can find 4 others.
Yes, I imagine we couldn't we? Give him a little wink.
Well, all right. Well, does she have any orders or anything?
No, I suppose not. I didn't even ask what we should wear, but I assume that we should come in our finest clothes, of course. It appears this is going to be a big party. The lords and ladies, I'm sorry, the Zor and Zora, as they call themselves, are going to be there. We should definitely put on our best game face.
Excellent. I do have a quick thing. So Steve back there, kind of older guy, been around for a while. I'm not entirely sure, but he may be related to Barbara. Turns out he's not very good at what he does, and I'm not really sure we're going to be able to keep him. So if you could, look around for a soft place for him to land, or try to figure out what our termination policy is, we might need one.
Hold on. Do I believe Thongrim?
Roll an insight check. And Thongrim, roll me persuasion or intimidation or whatever. Yes.
You believe everything, bitch.
I'd say Razael definitely does believe him. While there's no crit,
and I'm gonna need that by the end of the day. You can go ahead and fill out that form. That'd be great.
Well, I mean, I'm not much on quality control. That's certainly your game. Of course, we need to find a new place for Steve. Maybe give him to one of the other blacksmiths and set them up for failure.
He's a nice enough guy. I just don't think the quality of what he delivers is right where it needs to be. We have a remediation. We could maybe work it out. I'll leave that up to you to handle the personnel issues. And I might go ahead and need you to come in on Saturday too, if you could.
What's this Saturday?
Thongrim, what would you say it is you do around here?
I wouldn't say I've been missing it. No. No, that's fine. I'm just finding things to talk.
So do we want to RP this real quick? Hey, Gabe, you want to be Steve real quick? Did we lose?
Sure.
Gabe, you're a hard worker. You're just not very good at what you do. But you're you've developed a series of cutting corners that you've gotten away with for a while under the old management.
Steve guy.
I'm describing Steve. Steve has, probably started off at some point, but then sort of he'd been there long enough that he just kind of showed up and swung a hammer a little bit and let other people kind of carry the load. So he's kind of you can't really rely on him for the really fine-tuned details, but he's a very apprentice. He's an apprentice blacksmith getting paid like a mid-level apprentice blacksmith.
I know this is in the player's handbook somewhere. What is like the daily wage for most skilled workers? It's like 5 silver or something.
Something like that.
If you look at it's in Xanathar's, you can make it's basically enough to make room and board and then slightly more.
He was probably a
this town
pretty decent cobalt blacksmith, but when when the industry got away from cobalt blacksmithing, he kind of was kept on and is not really kept up with his skills. He made a lot of good money during the Y2K blacksmithing, upgrading old cobalt systems.
Okay, I've got a plan. I've pulled up the monthly silver piece for a comfortable skilled worker thing.
Going off Xanathar's,
what page are you on?
This is page 134.
Okay.
It's for adventurer earning an honest trade.
Yeah.
For 1 week, you can get a poor lifestyle, a modest lifestyle, a comfortable lifestyle, or a comfortable lifestyle plus 25 gold.
I'd say the comfortable one. So what'd you come up with there, Raz? What's that table?
Yeah, mine was 60 gold a month, but yours says 25 gold a week.
No, it's you make enough to get a particular lifestyle, so it's based on the expenses of the town.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this was lifestyle per month.
Yeah, and I would go with that. So that's 60 divided by 4. What? 15? Yeah, 15 gold. So.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's comfortable. You can't even stay at the inn for more than 5 nights.
It's swanky.
I suppose I'm ready to call Steve into whatever room of this place that we call an office.
All right, so Steve walks in. I'm assuming you're sitting behind this desk that you've raised up a little bit, and you've cut the legs off of the chairs to make them just a little bit lower.
Yeah, of course. I sit up a little higher. I prop like a book under my seat, so I look like 3 inches taller.
Steve's a half, about 8 feet tall.
All right.
Whoa.
Steve, big fella. Have a seat, would you? How are you today?
Me smashed today.
Yes, I know, I saw. Well, it's about that actually. It's something I wanted to talk about. Your smashing as of late hasn't been quite as smashing. Get it? It's a play on words. I was just wondering if there's anything going on. Have you been feeling a little depressed lately? Has your mind been elsewhere?
Me not see cousin Barbara.
Oh, she was your cousin. I'm afraid I did not know that. I knew that you knew.
My mom's cousin, but something like that. I don't know how that. Just called her cousin because I don't know what else to call her.
Oh, yes, I was in a relationship like that once. I had to get out of it because everyone in my family kept calling her cousin. Anyway, yes, so, well, Barbara had a good heart, but perhaps she didn't have quite as good eye as our boss Thongrim Fortify does. It's just your performance.
Lots.
You smash lots. Don't get Steve. When it comes to smashing in quantity, no one smashes more than you. More being the operative word here.
Smash good.
Smash. Yeah, about that. It's the smash good part that I think we're on the fence about a little bit. You smash more. Granted, no one's going to argue that, but it's the smash good bit that I wanted to go over.
Well, smash. Just hit hard. You smash.
Yeah. Yes, that is definitely how smashing works. I don't think anyone will win a debate against you when it comes to the definition of what smash is. But the quality of this, do you know what that word means? Quality, Steve.
Flatter means more smash.
Well, so there's this word that sounds very similar to that called quantity. Quantity means more smash. You've got that in spades. If we paid you for quantity, you could own the city.
Yeah, Barb, give me extra for more smash.
But well, see, the problem is more smash is good, but you have to smash good. Smash good. That means doesn't mean you smash more. It means you smash very gently. Because you smash too much, and then you overly flatten out the blade, and that makes the quality of the metal very weak. You see when you've cooled it down. Do you want to?
You need me to show you smash?
You know what, Steve? Sure. Why don't you let's go over and show me how you.
Put hand down on desk. I show you.
That's a very good one, Steve. I might use that later. But no, let's not do that. But the long and short of it, Steve, is you smash much, but you just don't smash good.
Good smash much. Much more.
Steve, I think there are tons of blacksmith guilds here, shops, that would love your skills. You just can't produce the inventory, and they need someone who can smash more. And that's you, Steve. That's you. They're looking for you.
Where's Barbara? Barbara used to tell me what I do.
Steve, I'm going to give you a very unique opportunity here today. I'm going to give you 2 weeks' pay. I'm going to give you 30 gold. And you know what?
Yes.
I'm going to send you down.
Oh, and give extra gold. Barb used to do that. Thank you.
Extra gold? What did she give you extra gold for?
For smash more.
Well, that's exactly what I'm doing for you, Steve. I'm going to give you 30 gold to smash more. But I have some friends over at the Smith Myth who need someone who can smash more. I'm gonna put in a good word for you down at the Smith Myth, and I'm gonna see if I can get you some work over there. How does that sound?
I don't like that side of town. I like this side.
DM, is there a shop nearby as we were going around that's nearby to?
Yeah, hang on. Where the hell did my list go?
I like how we have the same intelligence, but there's clearly a difference. It's like,
well, you know what? Let's say that the hammer home is close enough. You know what? Let me put that on the chart here.
I like how an intelligence of just below average means you can barely speak.
Me like Smash.
that's what a low intelligence, low charisma character gets you. Steve, about 2 blocks from here, on the good side of town is the Hammer Home. Now they're a little bit smaller than us, and the staff is a bit wishy-washy, true neutral. But you know what they need someone who can crank out the goods. They want to be a large shop like Bloodbath and Beyond, but they're not quite there yet. So they need someone who can crank out the smash. What did you say?
Thanks, Adam. That just helped keep me in. All right. Me smash anvil at Hammer Home.
Yes, you smash hammer on the anvil at the Hammer Home. They're the home for hammers. It's like they're just asking for someone to hammer.
This guy's so going to prison when he tries to. I work here now. It's doing stuff.
Yeah, I'm guaranteed nothing. I'm completely bullshitting. So what do you say? I'm going to give you 2 weeks' pay, 30 gold, and I'm going to set you up at the Hammer Home just down the street. How does that sound, Steve?
Okay, I live at Hammer Home now.
Yes,
Is
you
Barb
live at
home?
Hammer Home.
I'm going to assume that Steve doesn't live here.
That's a good DM question.
I had not considered that, but
I sleep the forge where it's warm.
Oh shit, if he really was Barbara's cousin, maybe he did live here.
maybe he did. I'm gonna say yes. He probably ended up sleeping by the forge, and nobody really paid attention to it.
Forge is warm.
Why are we firing him again? For funsies?
He's just not working out, man.
Me smash.
I'm wondering if it might be more trouble to fire him.
Okay.
Maybe make him security. Tell him to smash people who shouldn't be here.
All right, so you're offering him 30 gold to go somewhere else. This is, I like this. This surely can't go wrong at all.
Important point of order. I'm calling him into the office on the end of the workday, and I give him 30 gold, put it in his pocket, and assuming that he leaves the shop and he actually goes to the Hammer Home, I immediately lock the door.
All right.
If only he can't smash his way back in.
Yeah.
You're gonna
Oh no, we own the tools. He ain't taking that with him.
a lot of blacksmiths. The forge is out back where it's open and there's not really much blocking. Nobody walks with the pencil.
Shit. I figured a large shop would be enclosed and we'd have a chimney.
You don't want to work inside that forge. It's a giant thing of fire and smoke.
Which is
And
warm.
it's hot. Yeah, it's hot.
All right, so this 8-foot tall, dumb as a stump guy has just been given 30 gold and told to go to Hammer Home to hammer home.
Hammer Home Forge could be warm too.
Pretty sure you just called our bar dumb as a stone.
Yeah, maybe maybe Steve doesn't have an 8. Maybe his is even lower.
It's got a hammer. It's called your home. I mean, it's like they want you to live.
Okay, this is going to go great. So let's say he's also low wisdom. So let's give me an insight check for Mr. Steve. Just roll me a d20 and we'll subtract 2 from that. All right, so 11. All right, so he's going to go with this. He's going to go, yes, hammer home, hammer, smash.
20 strength, 10 dex, 8 intelligence, 8 wisdom, and 20 constitution.
I could roll a nat 1 on my persuasion and still beat your insight.
Yes, go for it. What was that dex on there?
I just say 12 dex. Because, big people, I don't know.
No, I like it.
He's got to accurately hit with the hammer,
Okay, yeah, let's do 14 dex. 20, 14, 20, 8, 8, 8.
Well, sure, we'll go with it.
He rolled good stats.
Yeah. All right, I'm good with this. So, all right, so he's going to go hammer home. We're assuming somebody has talked to Hammer Home about this, but he's going to go small.
We'll send him with a piece of paper, I guess, that says, that
I live here now.
Worker. Yeah, we'll send something along with the paperwork that basically says,
you realize this is
that he's a good worker, but he's just not cutting it where we are, and turnover for a new manager. I'd assume these places know Steve. I mean, especially if he's around.
Yeah. Gabe, you were saying?
This is going to come back around at the party, I'm sure.
Probably so. Okay. So you guys are... Steve, do you understand that you are being led out of the building?
I go to hammer home now. Smash anvil. Right?
It's your hammer home, Steve.
You could hammer that point home a little more?
All right. So you cautiously and you kind of guide him slowly out at the door, and you point him in the general direction of where this place is, which I'm sure he knows. So Steve has been kind of led out of the building, and you hear that the theme song from The Incredible Hulk as he's walking down the roadway with his little backpack and his hammer, trying to walk that way, and it's dun, 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 dun. Very sad music as he's wandering back.
Jeez, way to end it on a positive.
I thought it was funny. So
what's funnier than tormenting the mentally challenged?
Now I feel bad.
Gonna find some 8-foot guy in the corner with a hat. Steve, give 30 gold, buy nice hat. Now we live in under bridge.
He's just gonna be in our forge again.
Mama told me people are like anvils. You hit them too hard and they shatter instantly.
The hammerholders be like, no, you go back and live there now. And he's just gonna wander from shop to shop.
Constantly with just bags of gold. No, here's
will pay me 30 gold to steal other people's forge.
Oh, yeah. All right. That's awesome. Thank you for firing Steve. You have given us a running gag now.
It's what it's all about, right? But he wasn't working out, man. Sometimes turnover is what you got to do.
All right. So you guys have taken ownership of Bloodbath and Beyond North in the cold Mulmaster area, have procured an invitation to the Sage Estate Shindig Soiree Extravaganza Plus Supreme Turbo Championship Edition, and have managed to finally extricate yourself from paying the exorbitant Traveler's Cloak fee there, and you have managed to at least determine that the key is somewhere on the eastern half of Mulmaster. Suspicion being that it may be in one of those red-tinged buildings.
Well, we scried it from here, correct?
Yes.
And now we live here.
Yes.
So I'm sure we scry it from here. We're just getting the south.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how scrying works in terms of it being like a GPS point, or if it's just you get a feeling that it's in this general direction. I don't know if you know it's in this dude's pocket and he's in the hallway right now and he's walking upstairs. I don't know how accurate that is.
I can tell you that I am very much more on the hey, you're getting a general sense, or hey, it's definitely in this direction, because that's what we did in the temple as well. So. Yeah, I'm not gonna at this point go. It's in Jeeves' pocket, and he is currently traveling towards Chicago at 7 miles per hour, and you are heading towards him at 16 kilometers a second. At what time will you meet him?
I don't know. You have to keep your units straight first.
No, that's part of the equation. So yes, to that point, if you want to attempt to scry, you are more than welcome to.
Do you think there's any use, or do we feel like we...
Well, yeah, I mean, if you do it from where we're at now, you'll narrow it down some. Because if it's more south than east, it's going to be in 1 or 7. If it's
right. I mean,
but you would also potentially eliminate 10 if it was south.
Yes.
Wait, 10?
10's due east of us now.
Right, so when we were here, it was kind of... I don't have my line drawn. Oh, let's see.
But yes.
Yeah, so we were kind of in this general direction, which could, I guess, include 10. So... yeah, I guess we should scry just, triangulation in general, just trying to get a bead on where we need to be.
Well, what we could do? I could take the strength key out somewhere, a known location, and you could scry and see how much you move and how precise it is.
Yeah, we have it.
Like if I'm in the Ox Pit Tavern and you get a western feeling, and if you move down a block or so, and you still get a western feeling, we'll know it's not very precise.
Or that I could fail my scry and not know where it is at all.
Right, so you should go take the other key and all scry.
Yes. So
Corin does say this out loud.
All right. So this sounds like something we can take offline.
Yeah.
So let's continue that via email because it is 9:30 Central. I know it's usually about the time we cut out. So is there anything else that we want to accomplish or get known for this before we end the session?
As a new shopkeeper, owner, whatever, Corin would like to know if there's no there's no rule against using a magic item to do something, why can't I buy a magic item? Is there a law against selling them?
It just seems.
And however Thongrim and them want to coach that is, I don't want to get in trouble with the law with my store.
Well, plus the fact that you just found a bunch of charms, right?
Yeah. So, yes, I'm realizing I'm being inconsistent, but at the time we're going to say that it was just that there was a tightly controlled thing.
Right.
Well, charms, the magic. I mean, again, I'm not going to try to figure this out, but charms, the magic comes from an item, right? Or a charm or amulet or something like that, where if you're casting a spell, then you're potentially, filled with the demons or something, So it could be more.
Corin is interested in the legality of buying and selling magic items. He wants to get the further rules upon that.
Yeah, that's a good call.
I will figure that out.
Eldon was for scrolls, which would be casted spells, but which wouldn't necessarily be items with magic imbuements, right? So he wouldn't have found any scrolls.
And that's what I was initially thinking, because somebody would have had to have cast that more than likely, unless they were importing them. But even then, to cast it, you were then casting the spell from the scroll, which would probably abide by the prohibition or the Edict of Arcane banishment.
A charm doesn't necessarily require any. It doesn't require the user to be in any way magical or have any ability. You just have to basically
a wand of fireball.
Right. But
and so that might be okay too. I don't know.
And
either way, as shop owners, it'd behoove us to know these laws.
Yes.
And Corin wants to find out.
Yep. I don't have those answers, but I will figure something out.
Laws. So yeah, we'll just do some. We'll put some inquiries in as new shop owner.
Yeah.
All right. Call it.
Okay.
Yep, I think so. This was good. I had fun.
Okay, to reconcile gold real quick. So when we've moved into the new place, did we do more than just that fortnight at
It's 6 nights total.
Well, so we did end up doing 2 more, so off of the so I need to take 36. I squared it last week. So
what's the total we were subtracting for that? I hadn't been keeping track. I just settle up at the end.
72.
6 times 12. Does that sound?
Yeah, so yes. 72.
And then when I finish this map and we, figure out, I'm sure there's going to be some kind of expense around moving or retooling the shop to meet the. You just have to let me know how that plays out.
Yeah, we'll figure something out.